right, good morning, class.
Good morning.
Good morning. So today we're going to review completing the square. So let's say we want to solve this quadratic equation by using this method. So the first thing you're going to do is move the constant to the other side of the equal sign. You're going to add the 12. So you got negative 2x squared plus 8x equals 12. Now when you're completing the square, we want the x squared term to have a coefficient of 1. So if I want this to have a coefficient of 1, what should we do here?
Factor out the negative 2.
We could factor out a negative 2, and we'd be left with
X squared plus 4x
plus or
minus 4x.
Minus 4x equals 12. Good. Right? Now this whole term, completing the square, comes from this idea of having a perfect square trinomial that we could factor into two binomials that are the same. So for example, if I had x plus 5 squared, and I said expand that, what would that be?
X plus 5 and x plus 5.
X plus 5 times x plus 5. And if we're to distribute this, we would get x squared plus 10x plus 25, right? So when we compare what we have in parentheses to what we call a perfect square trinomial, because it could be factored into the square of a binomial, right? We see we only have two terms here. X squared minus 4x. Here we have three terms. So we're missing that third term, right? We're missing that constant. So because it's missing, we have to complete it, therefore completing the square. So how do we complete that? Well, it's very easy. We take this number, which is our b, right? We take our b, which in this case is negative 4, and we divide that by 2, which would give us negative 2, and then we square it to the 4. So we're going to add a 4 here. And that means this would factor in. So convince yourself that's true. Expand this in your head. X minus 2 squared is x minus 2 times x minus 2. Just like we did this one. So you would get x minus 4. And then minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. Like magic. Wow. And then we still have that minus 2 in front. However, you guys have learned since Algebra 1, this equal sign means something, right? So I just I created a 4 here. And I didn't do anything over here, but we need to keep it equal. But that's not really a 4 because of that negative 2. So if I was to distribute this to get back to here, right? Negative 2x squared, positive 8x, but this is going to create the what? A negative 8. So I'm really subtracting 8 over here. So I have to also subtract 8 over there. Whatever we do on the left, we have to do on the right. So negative 2 times that positive 4 is a negative 8. So then on this side, I have to do a negative 8. That make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then 12 minus 8, 4. We're going to divide by that negative 2. X minus 2 squared is negative 2. And then square root that. We're square rooting a negative. What does that tell us? We're going to imaginary numbers, so this has no real solution, right? There's no real numbers. So because there's no real solution, if we were to graph the equivalent function, right, it's a negative quadratic which opens down. So it would probably look something like that. or it doesn't cross the x-axis, there's no real solution. Okay? And so that is how you complete the square. You take that, well, you take your constant over to the other side. You make sure that your a is a 1, right? The coefficient of x squared is a 1. Then you take half of b, square it, add it, and then be careful if you have a term out here, you gotta distribute that. So it's not really a 4, it was a negative 8, so you gotta subtract 8 over there, and then continue by factoring that. That's it.